Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andrea Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
It's going great, John. It has been I feel like I have whiplash. I mean, this from when we recorded our show last week until today, I feel like I've been on this a never-ending tennis match where you're watching the ball go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth,
Yeah,
and no one gets a point because so much has happened over the weekend.
yeah,
Um,
right.
I mean, both locally, nationally, it has been just a lot of up and downs, say what moments, stuff like that. I do want to shout out a couple of congratulations before I get to the chocolate news. First off, um, my friend Toy Lynn O'Neill, who is the young woman behind the fundraising for the Romac Theater, the Regal Theater. They're trying to get renovated for the Robert O'Neill Multicultural Awareness Center they
Oh,
want to put in
yeah,
the West End.
yeah, yeah.
Well, under with Romac, they have decided to open up an entrepreneur store featuring art by teenagers and local artists. And you can get your Romac shirt and things like that. And then they have a couple of things that happen in the alleyway, what's called Innovation Alleyway, right down 2 doors down from the store. So I would just recommend everyone to go in, check it out. I happened to be there on her birthday when she opened up the store. In fact, saw one close friend who was buying a purse in there when I got in there, and
Mm.
so I'm going to be doing some Christmas shopping in there. I gave one of her art pieces to my father last year for Christmas, and I'm probably going to end up. I saw a couple things in there that I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. That I might go and get this year for Christmas. So local is good. My father is an artist. His spouse is an artist, so they love that type of thing. So, but I just say congratulations to Entrepreneur, and then also to Cynthia Booth, who opened up her Emerge manufacturing company. The building has been built. The company is up and running. She has about 30 people hired so far, and she is located. The company is located on the old Cincinnati Gardens spot.
Mm.
Um, I miss that red brick building. I had some fond memories in that red brick building.
Yeah.
Um, but she bought the property, and you now will be seeing trucks go down Seymour Avenue to her company because she'll be making it is a PPE plant for I know Mercy Health has a partnership with it, and she'll be making and selling PPE around the country. So what happened during COVID will not happen again because it'll be coming out of Cincinnati. So
Mm.
congratulations to her. And I know Cynthia Booth, if many don't know, is a former resident of Roselawn Bond Hill area, and she wanted to contribute to her neighborhood. She's been a banker. Then she was the owner of a food chain franchise. She ended up selling that to do something else. And so now this is her third phase of her career. So congratulations, and I hope it turns out well for her.
So, oh, I was gonna say, so what is the chocolate news of the week?
Well, let's go with the big story. Diddy.
Diddy. Yeah.
Okay, let's just make it. I knew him when he started out as Puff Daddy. Then he went to P. Diddy, I was like, really? So then he went to Diddy. So Diddy, or Sean Combs, um, is still in jail. He was arrested. Um, the rumors have been flying has it been a year or two? Rumors have been flying about Diddy, and it all. the investigation's been ongoing, but what really sort of helped the investigation was a lawsuit that was filed, a civil lawsuit that was filed against him. And some of what was in that civil lawsuit is, I would say, the foundation for the charges that are against him. And he is arrested. He was arrested in New York City on Monday on multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. The federal indictment was released. It was very eye-opening. But basically it's human trafficking, well, no, sex trafficking, alleged forcing certain people to be sex workers, participate in what's known as freakouts. When they searched all of his homes, and they found a lot of bottles of lube stored in one of the houses that are used for these freakouts.
Oh my God.
Yes. It's very sordid, very salacious. Part of and part of the investigation is the attack, the video attack on his former girlfriend, Cassie. That video was also part of the indictment. The prosecutors bring it up, and right now I can't even believe it. He remains in jail on a $50 million bond. A 50, I mean, if he's a Reese, the bond would be about $50 million. Right now he is housed in the detention center, which is located in Brooklyn, New York. This notorious detention center is known for fights, deaths, basically injuring a lot of inmates. It is very, 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 very notorious. And so, of course, Diddy's trying to get out. And he's even willing to, be at home, have no women, nothing at his house. He'll just be in his house. But I think that the prosecution will fear that he is a flight risk. And so that is what's going on. I mean, there's a lot to this indictment. And over the years he's been sued by several different people for sexual misconduct. He was sued by his ex-girlfriend. They settled. He's been sued by other people. In March, his home in Miami and Los Angeles were raided. Some of the probes include money laundering, sex trafficking, and also drug activity, but that was not mentioned in the indictment. So it's interesting to see what happens. So,
I don't know if I should say looking forward, but it will be interesting to see how this plays out. I wonder if he's just going to end up behind bars like R. Kelly, or is he going to miraculously survive this?
well,
Because
from
looks like he's guilty to me.
well, from what I understand, the charges, he would be in jail for the rest of his life. He will never get out. I the more I hear about this, it is his behaviors. He supposedly has a cocaine habit.
Ooh, not good.
Well, I should allegedly. The civil lawsuit filed against him. What is the guy's name? There have been several lawsuits filed against him. In fact, one attorney for the former Danity Kane member, Don Richards, he was on CNN today explaining why he's not surprised by these charges, and how that these are very, very serious charges. What he's accused of participating in is real. I talked with someone else today. They said that this woman who was working in my house, she said a friend of hers knows a friend who knows Diddy, and that, supposedly the rumors are true. Everyone has something about this. Basically, I'm just going to see what plays out in court. And I feel for his children.
Yeah.
That's who I feel for the worst. He has young children. He has a set of twins
Mm.
um, who are young and impressionable. And, this is their dad.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of sad to see a father go through this, one that you enjoy, but at the same time, if he was doing some illegal stuff and forcing women to be sex workers, and he's a father of two young girls, shame on him.
Yeah.
But again, all I can say is that if the federal government's got charges, got stuff on you, they got stuff on you.
Yeah.
So I would just say that, and what's sad is, did he help shape the rap industry? He helped change the fashion industry a little bit with Sean John. Um, everything that he touched, he has worked wonders with, and he's a very good businessman. I think he didn't he sell his I think he had a tequila, or was it whiskey, or was it vodka?
Maybe vodka?
I think it was maybe it was vodka. I remember he had something with the spirits industry. So I mean, every segment that he has touched, he has been successful. But they're saying that because where he has been successful, that was the front for the illegal operation that he was operating behind the scenes.
Mm.
So, it almost sounds like a good book, not a good fiction book of this, almost James Bondish, so to speak. Or no, no,
Yeah.
no, not James Bond, wrong thing. Soprano-esque style, or the
Mm-hmm.
Godfather-esque.
Yeah, right.
Um, so all I can say is we'll keep you up to date with Diddy.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Second, the other big news was the second assassination attempt of the former president, 45, Donald Trump.
Oh God.
Um, yes. It was when it came on, when I started seeing the headlines over the weekend, I first I thought it was just like shots fired in West Palm Beach, and I'm like, where? I have family in West Palm Beach, and I'm just kind of like, where? That they have bad neighborhoods, but not as bad as what we know about.
Right.
Um, so I was kind of like, shot fires near what golf course? That it does not happen in West Palm Beach. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Um, so what happened was it was a gentleman from Hawaii who was formerly from North Carolina. I believe his last name is Wesley. Um, and I will make sure I have the right information. But he laid in wait for 12 hours at one of Donald Trump's golf course. And he was the Secret Service. It was a last minute stop for Trump to go play around the golf at his golf course. And he has a golf course in West Palm Beach on Summit Street, I believe. And this guy was lying in wait, and he was lying in wait, and he did not fire at Donald this time. What happened was, as Donald Trump was playing rounds, the Secret Service will go ahead of him to check out the next hole to make sure it's clean. And a Secret Service agent happened to see the rifle sticking out of the bushes and fired. The guy jumped up, dropped a gun, and ran, leaving two backpacks, a GoPro camera, and he took off in a car. Now, a witness to all this took a picture of his car and his license plate, turned it over to the authorities. They were able to do a search the highway for him, a license plate search, found him and stopped him on the highway. And so this gentleman's allegedly, he's not associated with any group. But he is one person termed as one of those lone wolf people who are not crazy, but to stay away from. You get that vibe with a person who's like, "Oh, you're weird," and they
Yeah.
smile nicely, but they're like, you get that vibe of, "Ooh, don't mess with him." So he's one of those,
Right.
and he, again, he's not associated with any group or anything, but he, um, was fed up with Trump. He did vote for Trump in 2016. But he might have just been upset with what the stuff that Trump is spewing and decided that he didn't want to hear it anymore. Who knows? They're still trying to find out about what this guy wanted. He is charged with gun charges right now while they work on investigating the assassination attempt. And some people are like, why wasn't Donald Trump more protected? Well, he doesn't get the full protection like President Biden and Vice President Harris have because he's former. So as former, you only get so much.
Right.
So like if he was the president, they would have had the perimeter swept, police all the way around. There you would know that he was there. The only people who knew that Donald Trump was on that golf course were the people on the golf course. That's how low key that security is. He has security, but it's not the same um as other stuff, as the president and the vice president.
Right.
So we will continue to see what happens. Now the rhetoric coming from the Trump JD Vance campaign, especially from JD Vance, his claim is that the liberals need to tone down their rhetoric because they're obviously causing some issues
Of
because no
course.
one has not tried to assassinate Kamala Harris.
Mm.
And, it's a valid point in a way, but at the same
Uh,
time, in a way, but at the same time, I'm kind of like how, you know, Vice President Harris is a Black woman who is second in charge of the country.
yeah.
How do you not know that she has had death threats? How do you not know that they have not stopped someone trying to attempt assassination on her? Obama trained them. They had 8 years of training with Obama on crazy. Harris is VP, and I'm sure they're getting crazy for her
Oh yeah.
because she's a Black woman in a high paying job. So when I heard that statement from JD Vance, I was like, you didn't stop to think what you just said because you don't know what her security team has gone through to protect that woman already. What we don't hear about because the main focus is Biden, not Harris. But she has Secret Service just like Biden does. She has her own van just like Biden does. And the way they surround her, I'm sure there's some stuff that went down that if you notice how where the protective agents are around her, some stuff has gone on behind the scenes. You can just tell. So
Yeah.
that's what I always say about that. I would also say that one interesting note, um, Harris did do her second interview with the big interview with the National Association of Black Journalists. It went very well. I think she did an interesting job of speaking with them. Um, there were uh, three people interviewing her, one from Politico, one from the Griot, and I forgot who the other guy was, where he was from. And the guy from Politico, which was, well, he didn't write it, but the folks in the Politico wrote that she stuck to her script during the interview, um, that she parried questions on hot button issues, like the war in Gaza, reparations, and other critical election topics. Um, she stuck to her campaign script, but you got more detail, you got more emotion. Um, you also got some questions. She was asked about, there are a lot of black men who are leaning toward voting for Trump and not her. And she said, I understand the construction of the question. But I'm going to put it like this: Black men are voters. That just means I have to work harder for their vote. And, which I give her that's a great response. Not to mention that there are some black men or some men in general, black or white, who will not vote for a woman because they don't want to be told what to do by a woman. And they will vote for a man first before they vote for a woman. I've seen that played out canvassing for a number of female candidates before, where men have voted for the male candidate before they vote for the female candidate. Um, it's just a given. And so she has her work cut out for her. I know there's a new poll out where she still has some work to convince some independents to vote for her than Donald Trump. Her unfavorables amongst independents is also a little high. Her favorables are higher, but her favorables have gotten better, but her unfavorables still remain at a high rate. But it's something to work on. She's got time. She's got like what, 50 days left?
Yeah.
She's got 50 days. You could do a lot in 50 days. Um, I also, she talked about Springfield, Ohio. She thought it was appalling. And, you have to give her credit for, you hear from Trump and JD Vance about the Haitians eating the dogs. She talked about the impact of those lies being spread by these two gentlemen. And she said that the day the bomb threats came to the schools, she said it was picture day. And you could just see the emotion. She said, you know how you are as a kid, you get dressed up, you want to look good. And then before you even can get your picture taken, you have to be escorted out of school because of a bomb threat. And kids have to be escorted to school in fear of something may happen to them on the way to school. She said it's almost like Ruby Bridges. And it was kind of
Mm.
sad. But she spoke a lot about the child tax credit. She talked a little bit about gun violence. I know one reporter was trying to steer her to talk about more than just background checks. And she gave an answer that she wasn't going to go further than what she was going to allow herself to go into. Everyone keeps claiming that they want details. They want more details. Well, my thing is, if you want details, why aren't you demanding details from Donald Trump? She's giving you the overview. And if you go on her website, you can read the details. Why aren't you demanding details from Donald Trump? Because he's been there, done it already once, and wants to do it again. And they got that playbook. But anyway, I'm not going to go off on a campaign script. Anyway, I'm just saying, I mean, a lot came up in an interview. Overall, she did a good job. Some folks who were on Twitter claimed, oh, softball questions, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, it wasn't softball. It was, you heard more about her economic plan, her business plan for not only for those who want to buy a home, those who want to start a business. She explained further why, what's the reasoning behind those things. So even though she stuck to campaign script, she gave more depth of that campaign script. So to me, it was a good interview. Um, it didn't, there were no outstanding comments or things like that. So it didn't make the headlines like everyone thought it would, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, just on a fun note, Ben and Jerry, the ice cream, I love Ben and Jerry ice cream. They are very political. They're also very green based. And they are going on a Scoop the Vote tour where they're sending an ice cream truck to 20 stops in the battleground states to sort of help register people to vote, encourage people to vote with ice cream. And for this tour they created a limited edition ice cream in honor of Kamala Harris. It's called the Kamala Coconut Jubilee. And it's made with coconut ice cream with caramel ripple and confetti stars. And I'm like, that sounds interesting. And also on this ice cream truck will be included the Unburdened by What Has Vanilla Bean, Inauguration Celebrities Birthday Cake, Fight for Our Rights Sorbet, and Move on Mobilizer Milk Chocolate. So if you happen to be in the area where the truck is, get some ice cream because it sounds delicious. So
It does.
it doesn't it sound delicious?
It really
Ooh,
does. I wish I lived near Ben and Jerry's.
go to Kroger's. Well, true. Ben and Jerry's is located in Seattle. Um,
Yeah, but I know they have like different locations, though. I
they
wish they had one
do.
near Cincinnati.
I know that. I as much as I love our local ice cream stores, I like Graders, I like United Jerry.
Oh yeah.
Ben and Jerry's is my favorite,
Oh yeah.
and then
It's on a different level.
Ben and Jerry's is on a different level, and then Haagen Dazs is on another level
Oh yeah.
as well. And so depending upon my mood, um, I have my go-tos. And Graders is like the one because I love Graders, though they did mess up my black cherry ice cream. Um, but I love Graders. Um, I like United Dairy. Do you know how many times my mother sent me to United Dairies for their ice cream scoops or a milkshake? I mean, it's just the go-to. But then again, when you want a different level, or you want to support a company that's green, it's Ben and Jerry's. Or if you want luxury, it's Haagen Dazs. So
Yeah.
what can I say?
Yeah.
All I can say is that. So a couple of interesting things have happened. Um, that a colleague of mine pointed this story out to me yesterday, and I wanted to um, mention it to a couple of people down in Henderson, North Carolina. A 20-year-old man named Javon McGee was found dead up against a tree with a rope around his neck. Now, he was not swinging. He did not have defensive wounds on his body. Um, it is a mystery how he ended up um, lying against this tree dead. The sheriff claims it was not a lynching. His family in Chicago claim say differently.
Yeah.
He was a truck driver, and he had just delivered a load to Walmart the day before. He was seen in Walmart buying some blue rope. Yeah, I guess for whatever use. And I do know from what I was told, blue rope is used by truck drivers to hold down inventory that they're hauling. Sometimes that stuff does not stay in place and they have to tie it down. And he had bought some rope, I guess, to help tie down contents in his truck. And what happened between the time he bought that and when he was found, nobody knows. So, but you will see images off of TikTok on Instagram about this situation in Henderson, North Carolina. They're they're just upset. The family's upset. They're demanding an investigation. They're demanding that the state step in to conduct the investigation. Um, and they believe that something is not right in terms of what led up to his death. Um, and what's playing into this is the fact that the autopsy, there was a preliminary autopsy, and did say that the soft tissue around his neck did have a was bruised, and there was a discharge from his neck. There were no other cuts or wounds on his body. That despite the information, they're trying to be the family's claiming the officers are not being transparent, but the sheriff's office saying no, it's not true. We're telling the family everything that we have, but there's been no lynching out there. Um, Henderson is located in Vance County. They're saying that the rope was wrapped around his neck, but it was not a noose. There was no knot in the rope. So it was not, there's been no lynching. So maybe he died of strangulation and it was laid up against the tree. We just don't know what happened, but I would just, if you see something on TikTok, you see something on Instagram or on Facebook about this, um, wait until all the facts are out, to see what happens. Um, Anything with a black man, a rope around his neck, is not a good sign. So we just have to wait and see what the autopsy says and go from there. So
Hmm.
it's a sad situation, but I thought I'd mention it. Then there were a couple of deaths. One, Tito Jackson, um, known for wearing his bowler hat and sunglasses. He was the founding member of the legendary Jackson Five. Um, he was only 70. I cannot believe he was only 70.
Is he only 70?
He
Wow.
was only 70. He was the former lead singer of the Jackson Five until Berry Gordy had Michael take the lead and Tito went to the background.
Hmm.
Later, Tito left the group and struck out on his own. Didn't have as many hits. He didn't have a lot of hits like Michael did, but he, he was the backup on timeless hits of ABC, I'll Be There. Oh, ABC. It just his sons, Taj, Terrell, and TJ, known as the Three T's. They're a musical group that he had managed. They posted on Instagram about the death of their father. Um, he was known to some as either Coach Tito or Papa T. Um, and supposedly, which is so sad, he died of a heart attack while driving. He was driving from New Mexico to Oklahoma, and on that trip, he passed away, which
Hmm.
is sad. Um, so it is kind of sad. A number member of the Jackson family is gone, um, but he will live on in on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, and then also, I don't know if everyone um, is Michaela DePrince was not known in the ballet. Well, she was known well in the ballet world. She was very renowned. She was a former war orphan that was adopted by a family in New Jersey. She grew up. She became a ballerina. She made it to a principal ballet dancer. She looked up to a number of black ballerinas who made it big. Um, and she died. Um, I saw this on Facebook. A number of people that I know on the East Coast posted this about her death. If you ever got to see her on stage, she just had a flawless. Um, she just could move well as a ballerina. Um, and what is so sad is that she died on September 10th. Her mother, Elaine DePrince, died the next day during a routine procedure in preparation for surgery. So the Prince family had a double hit, which is unfortunate. You want to keep the family in the prayers, but um, Michaela was very well known. She was known in the community. A number of people. She was with. I'm sorry, not the New York Ballet, the Boston Ballet. I got my ballets mixed up. But she was a principal ballerina for them. Um, she um, she was just well loved in the Boston area. They just loved her. They loved her courage, her perseverance. She was very well known in the dance community. She was a rising star, and it's just kind of sad that she died. Just to let you know, she was born in Sierra Leone, and she was adopted into the DePrince family, which had with 10 siblings in Cherry Hill. So there's that. So that is all the chocolate news for today.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea. And that's it for today's show. I want to thank Andrea again for all the great chocolate news. Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And you can find out more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.societyherald.com, the session newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. I'm John Alexander Reese,
And I'm Andrea Carter.
and have a good day.